Thanks for joining us. I'm Abby Chatfield and I am delighted to be hosting tonight's Realised Bites on Digital Life. We'll be screening Kate Snashill's film 718,000 Hours. After that, I'll be back with some very special guests to discuss the film.
The average lifespan is 82 years, which equates to 29,930 days, or 718,000 hours. This may sound like a lot, but in all these years and days and hours, we go to school, and instead of spending our weekends with friends and family, we spend them on our phones. And then we go to work and start a family, and then eventually we retire. Maybe one day we will visit new countries and meet new people and live our lives, but until then, we wait and spend our time on our phones. And life moves on, with or without us. We wait for when we have thousands of friends. We wait for when we finally graduate school. We wait for when we have the perfect life. But why are we waiting? We don't need to wait in order to start living our lives. Life doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't wait for you to finish high school or for you to find the perfect person. We don't need to be traveling the world on great adventures to be living. Living isn't about the bigger things. It's about the little things. It's about those moments that feel like they belong in a movie, those moments that are once in a lifetime. It's about capturing those moments and treasuring them, instead of posting a photo online in hopes of validation in form of likes and comments. We should put down our phones and step outside. You never know whether or not you will have tomorrow. All you can be sure of is right now. But that is all you need to live your life to the fullest. So before you're busy with jobs and taxes, you should put down whatever device you're on. And whilst you're at this very moment, you need to make the most of it. So while you can, spend time with the people who matter the most. Watch the sun rise, sing at the top of your lungs, stay up all night talking with friends. Let go of whatever or whoever is holding you back. Go on an adventure, no matter how small. Be passionate, meet new people, and do new things. Spend every day like it could be your last. So stop waiting and start treasuring over little things. Because life is meant to be lived and not seen through a screen.
What an amazing film. I love the idea of analysing people's self-worth being based on likes, comments, shares and engagement and everything in between. I have a lot of opinions on this, so let's get into it. Tonight we have filmmaker Kate Snashill, model, influencer, videographer and podcast host Dwayne Andrew Kerr, and travel filmmaker and storyteller Jake Rich. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Kate, your film has some really inspiring and powerful messages. What inspired you to create the film?
I think I was just initially inspired by seeing so many of my friends and kind of family spending all their time on their devices and making that kind of the focus of their lives.
Yeah. See, if it wasn't my job, I think I would just throw it into the ocean.
Yeah.
Honestly. Dwayne, what was your reaction?
I think the key point that stood out to me was when you kind of talked about how people try to sometimes waste their lives. They're always looking for the next stage instead of kind of living in the moment. And that resonated with me quite a bit. Because I remember when I was younger and in school, I used to think, oh, I can't wait to get to university. I can't wait to finish university and get a job. And sometimes you kind of like completely miss out on those moments that you should be really engaging with your friends and your family. And looking back now, there's so many times I wish I'd gone back and just like embraced that time. So I think that was like the key message that stood out to me, for sure.
How about you, Jake?
I mean, I think one of the strongest lines in the film was the notion that life doesn't follow a schedule. I mean, I think that just really resonated with me. As much as we can try and curate things and, you know, work towards deadlines and whatnot, there's so much beauty in just having this sort of ability to sort of lead a life that we want, but not be refined and restricted to certain confines that maybe society or friendship circles might place us under. So yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the film, and I also am a big fan of that style of storytelling. So
Well done, Kate. Well, the film was made the year before the pandemic. How did lockdown change your online life?
I think surprisingly it actually made it a lot more positive for me because there was a lot less pressure with social media to kind of be perfect and have this really curated life because everyone was at home, everyone was just, in their pajamas all day. And so it just became a lot less pressure, and I think I really like that, and that's something that I know I am trying to kind of take with me as we're coming back to real life.
Dwayne, how much time is too much screen time?
If you're just someone that's on your screen just for the sake of it, scrolling through social media every day, giving likes and commenting, I think you need to keep it very, very minuscule, especially if you're following people that aren't helping you grow or making you feel great about yourself. I think that's a massive issue in today's social media life. People follow people that don't actually do any positive for their mental health. For someone like me who's a videographer and I do podcasts and I edit a lot of stuff, I'm always in the screen. So what I now do is that I do this thing called 30-30-30, where if I'm working a full day, maybe from 9 to 5, every 30 minutes, I'll get up from my screen and take 30 seconds away from the screen and look at something 30 yards away, just to like break up that amount of time through on the screen.
Well, the scrolling thing's interesting because I find that I like doom scroll. Like when I'm feeling really anxious, I just lie there and scroll, and it's a reflection of my mental state.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it just like wastes so much time. I put a limit now on TikTok. I think like an hour and a half a day, and then it's like stop it, and then I just have to put it away. Jake, how much time do you think is too much screen time?
just follow the metrics on my phone. So, if I look and it goes past, say, 3 hours a day.
3 hours only.
Are
Are you serious?
Is 3 hours, would you say that's too little?
Okay, let me see what, I feel like, let's see what mine is. Please hold.
Mine varies as well.
Yeah, mine varies. Yeah, like it definitely changes. Screen time. Yeah, cool. I mean, it's down 14% to 8 hours.
Oh my lord.
I feel like it's my work. Someone works 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I'll let you out with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't judge whatsoever.
Anyway, moving on. So, have you ever said anything on social media that you probably wouldn't say in real life?
I feel like, I think I have. And I say this because I've rewatched videos from 5 years ago and I've gone, okay, there's some comments that I would have made in here that I wouldn't say today. And I think that's part of our evolution. Like, we all evolve as humans, and maybe the beauty in that is that it's learning from our mistakes. Hopefully those things aren't too detrimental, and hopefully they're just sort of passing comments, but at least we can realize that we are all evolving and we do have a digital footprint, and that thing does exist.
Well, speaking of digital footprints, there's been a lot of misinformation served up online recently, especially. How do you separate fact from fiction?
Gosh, I don't know. I think that's a hard one between kind of what I'm constantly fed through kind of social media versus like school at the moment for me, and just like weighing up those two things and like how both of those like very often like extremely different perspectives will like look at current affairs and that sort of thing, and thinking about which lies with my values and my beliefs personally, which will often be social media, but then is that going to be the one that is the most truthful? And that's something for me, yeah.
So I think the key is also to ensure that where you're getting your information from is also official websites and not just a random blog of some random person.
Like a Reddit feed.
Yeah, a Reddit feed or anything like that. You always got to go to the main source of information and go to the professionals that have been doing this for 20, 30 years.
I tend to look at multiple sources. So like, even if I read one article from, say, SBS, I'll always look at an opposing article from the Australian or the Guardian. And it's really interesting just to hear and to see which ways the publications sway. Because obviously there is an ulterior motive with some of these news sources. So you do have to think like the media is some part a game, and it's important to take some of it with a grain of salt, or just don't read it at all and form your own sort of opinion through lived experiences.
Kate, what was it like being part of the Realise Film Festival?
It was very exciting. I remember learning that I was going to meet Scott Tweedy from Prank Patrol, and that like changed my world.
Scott Tweedy.
that
He's
was
like still hot. Like, it's weird. Like, you know how usually when someone gets older they get ugly? He's like still hot. It's quite weird. And what would you say to someone thinking about entering it?
I think go for it. I was super scared. I had wanted to enter for like a year or two, and I had never gone through with it. because it is like a very daunting thing. And I think the other thing I'd say is just kind of like be prepared for like anything to like go wrong, because it will inevitably, especially when like it's probably just gonna be like a group of like young friends. Like I was 13, 14 when I made it, and I was just doing it with like other like young teens, so like so many things went wrong, but just kind of like push through that, like constantly like prepare and like figure out what you're doing, and it'll all work out. Yeah.
And finally, panelists, what's your best advice for handling digital life?
I would say to unfollow or mute anyone or anything that is not serving your mental health in a positive way. When I was younger, I used to think that I was so mentally tough that if I saw something that wasn't affecting me, I could just push it to the back of my mind. Now that I'm 29 and I'm older, and I would say it's somewhat wiser, I realize that it's so important for me to not try and battle with my mental health, and just accept that, okay, this person, every time I see their story, it actually makes me feel uncomfortable or it makes me feel sad. Just mute them. Like, you don't even need to unfollow them, because then that could just create a whole can of worms of why have you unfollowed me. People get weird like that. So I think the key is just to completely take yourself away from that kind of environment, mute, unfollow if you need to, and then you will find that your life improves vastly.
How about you, Jake?
I'm a big advocate of just, getting outside and embracing the world around you. Our phone's always going to be there, and it's something that we'll always come back to. But, to navigate it, we didn't have these tools. I certainly didn't have these tools when I was growing up, and I didn't really have to deal with the pressures that they place on our being. So I think, honestly, like, if you can just lose your Wi-Fi connection, or just, I don't know, lose your phone, there's a lot more beautiful things that are happening. So that would be my advice.
How about you, Kate?
I think just kind of talk to yourself and figure out what's the actual reason why I'm on these apps and these platforms. And, as we were talking about before with kind of the doom scroll thing with TikTok, is I was just realizing that it was like, personally, it was just wasting my time. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't need that. So figuring out what I actually wanted to like have my phone for, and making sure that that's just what I was doing, and that it was having like a positive impact on me and bettering my life, as opposed to just taking time and taking like life away.
Totally. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. I hope to see you next time.